What is up, my geeks and freaks? Big Girl Geek here with a brand new video. And as promised, here is my review of the movie Aquaman. I did get to see the movie earlier, you guys. I took a poll on my Twitter and my Instagram at Big Girl Geek. And I asked if you guys wanted this review today or Friday when most people do get to see the movie, and you guys voted for today. So here is the spoiler-free review. I will also still be counting down Aquaman's best moments in my other videos, Countdown to Aquaman. You could check out some of those videos. Here is the link up here. So let's get right into it, you guys. I took some notes. So if you see me look down, that's what I'm looking at, things that I wanted to make sure I covered in this review, and to make sure that it's not too spoils it for you guys. So, all right, let's get into it right now. First, I wanted to say it was, it was a okay movie for DC. I know DC has not too good of a rap when it comes to their movies. Please see Dawn of Justice and Justice League. Yeah, so, but for a DC movie, I thought it was okay. I mean, it's one of those types of grab your popcorn, sit back and chill with your friends and your kids and, you know, watch the movie. Is it on Wonder Woman's level? No. But is it above Batman versus Superman and Justice League? Well, it's above Batman versus Superman, a little bit lesser than Justice League, in my humble opinion. So let's see, it starts off, we get right into the action. We don't have to wait that long for the action, you guys, and there is a cameo from a certain actor that did some voice work in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoons that used to come on, that I've been sharing some of those clips of Aquaman on that cartoon series. There's a voice actor that makes a cameo. I won't say who it is, but when you watch it and if you recognize it, please come back to this video and comment. I thought that was so cool. I even reached out to him on IG and he responded to me. So I think that was really fun to see that cameo. So yeah, like I said, we don't have to wait long for action. We don't have to wait long to see Jason Momoa in action. You know, I'm sure the ladies will love to see all of that. So we don't have to wait to see that. And he's the type of actor that I think, like, of course the ladies love, and he's Jason Momoa, and he's so cute, and blah, blah, blah. But I think dudes really gravitate towards him too. He just seems like a really down-to-earth guy. He's very into his heritage, very into his Hawaiian culture, which is so endearing, which is so great to see. And he just seems like a really cool dude. And I did get to meet him, actually, at Boston Comic-Con. I drove all the way to Boston to meet him. This was right after Game of Thrones, pre him getting the Aquaman gig, before they announced him as Aquaman. I don't know if he was like in talks or even that was a thing. I don't think so. So this was like right after his run on Game of Thrones, and I did get to meet him. And he's very nice. Quick little story. I was first in line to meet him. Came out, they're like, all right, go. And usually if you've ever been to a Comic-Con, you know it's like, go, hey, how you doing? I love you. Picture. And you're out. Well, we posed for the picture, his arm around me, and the photographer was not ready, and so he had to, like, fix some camera things and all that. So we stood there for about a couple of minutes, and I'm like, oh, this is awkward. But it wasn't, because he kept his arm around me. He was very nice. He was talking to me, and I was just like, hi. You know, it's Jason Momoa. Like, I wasn't married then. I was single. So, but I was definitely swooning and had a fangirl moment over him. So quick little my Jason Momoa story. So yeah, he's great, and it was fun to see him in action. There was a super obvious scene between him and one of his villains that you could tell what was going to happen and why that villain was going to hate him so much. The plot had those moments where you could just you kind of knew what was going to happen. You could kind of figure it out early on, even if you don't read the comics or are familiar with the comics. You kind of got the plot and you kind of figured out, like, okay, it was predictable. It was a predictable plot, but I think it still was enjoyable, even though it was predictable. They called Aquaman, now I'm not sure if this is correct. They call Aquaman a metahuman. I don't recall him. Is he technically a quote-unquote metahuman? Or is he something else because he is half Atlantean? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I never really called him a metahuman. I always called him like a half god, like a, you know, like a Hercules, half god, half human. I never really called him a metahuman. I don't know, is that correct? I can't remember. So please let me know in the comments below if Aquaman is technically a metahuman. All right, my next point that I wanted to make is that the music in this the music in this movie was good. I haven't checked out the soundtrack or the score or anything like that. I don't know who did the music, but I thought the music was nice. It went with the whole feel of the movie. I had no complaints about the music. The special effects and the visual effects I thought were great. No complaints there. I thought it would be hard to do with them, you know, supposed to be underwater. They're an underwater people. They live underwater. They breathe water. That's how they are. The way they moved and flowed and everything underwater, I thought was really great. They didn't look like, you know, sea monsters or mermaids. I felt like that's how people would move under the water if they lived under the water, if that made sense. So I thought that was really cool. William Dafoe is in the movie, which I didn't even realize because I've been trying to stay away from like the trailers and who's in the movie and who's not in the movie because I wanted to be surprised. I wanted to give DC a clean slate because they have a bad rep. But for movies, anyway, not TV shows, but for movies. And William Dafoe made that switch. He jumped from Marvel because if you remember, he was the bad guy in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's movies, and he has left Marvel and jumped ships to DC. So I thought that was really cool to see him. I thought he was okay as a good guy in this movie, but I like my William Dafoe as a villain. I like my villain William Dafoe. I liked him in Spider-Man. I thought that was cool. I also, speaking of cameos, had no idea that the guy Dolph from Rocky was in this movie. I didn't know he's in the movie. He plays a character, an Atlantean. He's in this movie. That was so good. He did good. I know people kind of make fun of him and his acting, but he did a really good job. I really enjoyed that. So this does take place. I had a question. I didn't know because, like I said, I was trying to stay away from it. If this was pre-Justice League or post-Justice League, and we do get that answer. I won't say here in case people were waiting for that. I won't say if it's pre-Justice League or post-Justice League, but they do answer that question for you guys. So, Jason and Amber. Amber, of course, playing his wife or his future wife from the comics. They had good chemistry. I didn't hate it. I think their chemistry was great. I think they played well off of each other. I think she did a really good job. You know, I haven't seen too much of her other things, so I don't know like her acting ability that much. I mean, I know of her because she had she was or is married to Johnny Depp and some whole situations like that type of stuff. But as far as her acting, I don't really know. I don't know any other things that she's in. I always get her confused with Blake Lively. Super different people. Forgive me, I get her confused. I'm like, wasn't she in the Shark movie? They're like, no, that was Blake Lively. That's Ryan Reynolds' wife. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, I get them confused. They look nothing alike. Sorry. Yeah, but her and Jason had really good chemistry. She, I think, looks just like her comic book counterpart. They did her powers great. Her outfit was great. Her costume was great. Her attitude was great, and they bounced off each other very, very well. Now Jason as Aquaman in his solo performance, I think, how should I put this? I think he did a good job. He brought in some of the characteristics of Aquaman that I've seen in animated movies and animated TV shows. He had that little bit while still having his own spin on the character, but I was worried about this, and I was right. I was still very much aware that I was watching Jason Momoa in a movie, if that makes sense. I was very aware that this was just Jason Momoa playing Aquaman. It wasn't like, oh man, yeah, that's Aquaman. That's such an Aquaman thing. That's Aquaman. You know, it was like, there's Jason Momoa being Aquaman, if that makes sense. So there was that. I was worried about it, and I was right about it, but it still didn't take away from what enjoyment I did get from the movie, even though I was very much aware that it was Jason Momoa playing Aquaman. Some people don't like that. Some people don't mind, like me. So take that as it is, and take what you will from that. They had some flashbacks of Aquaman Arthur at different stages in his life, and the one that was playing the teenage version of him, I really wasn't feeling him as an actor. I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but I felt like his acting was not on the level of the actors that he was sharing screen time with, if that makes sense. Nicole Kidman looked great. I think they used the same CGI that they did in the Marvel movies. Do you remember how they had to do a young Tony Stark, and they like made a younger version of Robert Downey Jr. and then a younger version of Michael Douglas in the Ant-Man movies? I guess they used maybe the same CGI for Nicole Kidman for her younger version, and it looked nice and looked great, just like those other characters that I just mentioned, Iron Man and Michael Douglas. So she looked great, and she had a really cool kick-ass scene, and she did great in that. I think they have that out now. If you could watch it, you could watch it if you want. I was trying to stay away from it, but she kicked butt, and she looked awesome doing it. I mean, obviously you could tell it's a stunt woman, but it still looked like her. You know what I mean? So it was cool. She had a cool moment. Her character had a cool moment, and what they did show Nicole Kidman, she looked great. And you don't have to wait long to see the battle between the characters that you want to see, I won't say, but I mean, you get it. You don't have to wait. It's not, I'm really spoiling it. You don't have to wait long to get to what we need to get to move the story along. So they don't make you wait. It's not long and drawn out, to me, in my opinion. It goes pretty much how you expect, the confrontations between the characters. I mean, it's like obvious who's going to win, who's going to lose, da da da. Like I said, the story in the movie became predictable, but I still enjoyed it. I don't know if it's because I'm just like want to root for DC, or I really enjoyed it, but I did enjoy it. I'm so sorry. Like, I enjoyed Justice League, even though it was what it was. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I expected this from DC, and I just go in with these expectations now to just enjoy what they give me at this point. You know what I mean? Just enjoy what they give me, and that's how I enjoyed this movie. There was some unnecessary, even though, like I said earlier, Jason and Amber have great chemistry. There was, I felt like, a couple of unnecessary scenes with them that I was just like, oh, well, we could have used more action instead of that whole situation. There was a big reveal, as there usually are supposed to be in these movies, that I'm surprised that has not gotten spoiled, and that it really did catch me by surprise. They showed, I know in the trailer, so this really isn't a spoiler, but if you feel that it is, I don't know, maybe turn this video off right now. But I don't think it's a spoiler because they showed it in the trailer and the pictures have been everywhere, so I don't really consider it a spoiler, but turn it off now. Give me a sec. Okay. So they do show Jason Momoa in the traditional Aquaman suit, the traditional colors, and he looks great in it. I don't even think he really needed the blonde hair. It worked, and I liked it. And there was such a difference in the storytelling, and a difference but similar in, you know, the story of Jason and well, I keep calling him Jason, say Aquaman. See, the story of Aquaman and Orm, brothers fighting over the throne, similar to that of Thor and Loki, brothers fighting over the throne. Very, you know, similar stories in that aspect. And one is, you know, Aquaman is only half, and Loki isn't even really Odin's son. So something similar there about brothers fighting over the throne and the heritage and the parentage of those characters, but they go about telling those stories in different ways. Like, you really are rooting for Thor and Loki's brother friendship. You really, they're brothers. For me, Aquaman and Orm, even though you know they're brothers, but you're not really fighting for them to have that brother relationship and to be BFFs. For me, personally, I'm not. So, yeah, that's about all the points I wanted to make about the film without spoiling it too much. So, overall, I would give Aquaman, what would I give Aquaman overall on a graded scale? I think overall, because like I said, it's a predictable plot. You're really just watching Jason Momoa be Jason Momoa, and he's not really bringing me in as Aquaman, because his Aquaman is a little bit more different than what I've used to seeing in the animated stuff and in the comics. But it's a really cool movie to bring your family to, and it's really one of those popcorn movies. C minus? I would give it a C minus. I would give Aquaman a C minus. So that's all I have for you guys today on my Aquaman review. I can't wait for you guys to see the movie. Go out, see the movie Thursday night, Friday. Come back here to me and type in the comments what you think. I can't wait to read you guys' comments. I will still be counting down. I put my countdown up earlier today, and I will count down again tomorrow. I also did, it was a big day for us guys, us geeks, because they also released that Aladdin teaser info, and you can check out my reaction to that here. And so I've been very busy getting these videos out for you guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment, a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe, and also hit that little bell so you get notified when I do upload a new video. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for chatting with me, guys. Until next time, big girl geek out. Peace. Hey, where are you going? You just watched a cool video. Subscribe.